the Arab American Political Action Committee's 21st Annual Gala. I am so very humbled to be part of such a distinguished political action committee alongside my esteemed fellow AAPAC executive officers, past and present, as well as our general members. Can you guys all stand up, members of AAPAC that are here and the officers? AAPAC's current executive officers are Internal Vice President, Attorney Fadwa Hammoud, External Vice President, Dave Abdullah, Treasurer, Nora Tanas, and Secretary, Attorney Amir Macklin. Thank you all for your indispensable contribution of time and wisdom. Again, being the Year of the Woman, there has been a record-breaking number of women who have been running for office in 2018. AAPAC is proud to endorse Amy Fadama, the first Yemeni American woman to run for office in the state of Michigan. AAPAC has always encouraged women to join this organization and to be a part of the political process. In fact, many of AAPAC's officers and members, past and present, are and have been women, some of whom have been elected and or appointed to public office or are part of the nonprofit sector. AAPAC's internal vice president, Fadwa Hammoud, was recently promoted to lead prosecutor at the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. She's also the Dearborn School Board Treasurer. Our former president and former Dearborn School Board member, Judge Miriam Bazzi, is also here with us this evening. Attorney Zainab Hassan is now General Counsel for the Kresge Foundation. Fairuz Saad is a public official and previously served as First Director of Detroit's Office of Immigrant Affairs. AAPAC member Gita Dagger serves as the Advocacy and Government Relations Manager for United Way. Our membership also includes Fairuz Bazzi, who's Beaumont Hospital ICU nurse. And we have so many other incredible women. Of course, I don't want to upset our male members. We have amazing male AAPAC members. And they're equally appreciated, I promise. With that being said, we have former president of AAPAC and longstanding member, newly appointed magistrate, Ali Hammoud. We have also Magistrate Hilal Farha of the 19th District Court. Abid Hammoud, Assistant U.S. Attorney, who was recently appointed to the Judicial Qualification Committee of the State Bar. Abdullah Hammoud, Michigan House of Representatives. We have Ali Eid Al-Malkani, former president and co-founder of the Yemen American Benevolent Association, YABA. Amr Zahar, U of D Mercy Law professor, activist, and comedian. Osama Siblani, founder and publisher of the Arab American News. Sam Beydoun, candidate for the Wayne County Commission and established member of AAPAC. And again, the list goes on. I just wanted to highlight all of these members because they are all incredible individuals who give us their time to meet and do everything we do.
All right, good evening, everyone. For me, the AAPAC dinner serves as a milestone for us to check up on one another as to our progress in the work to lift the voices of our community. And I'd like us to take a moment and reflect on what this event has meant for the last couple of years. In 2016, I seem to remember we were all feeling quite hopeful for our country. Well, that didn't turn out too well. So, in 2017, we were all looking around like, what do we do now? But here in 2018, I stand before you with some great news. As a community and as a state, we are finally getting our act together thanks to women who have stepped up, especially in 2016, to say, all right, that's enough. We'll take it from here.
Thank you, Fadwa, and thank you to the Executive Committee of AAPAC, and to, of course, all the members and all of you here. I am grateful to be able to call and count on each one of you as friends and co-conspirators. And while I am incredibly grateful for this award, I am even more grateful for the work that you do and your commitment to this community. And before I say anything else, I want to congratulate all of the candidates, anybody and everyone who has run for office. You have answered the call to serve.
Thank you all for coming. Every year I feel AAPAC's getting older and older, and AAPAC is 21 years old tonight, so AAPAC can do a lot more things now at 21st birthday. I promise you one thing, we had a deal at AAPAC. I have to preface this before I do the introduction or before I call up on Feiruz, is we make the introductions very short and the acceptance very short. So me and Feiruz are stuck to it. So this is not to minimize her accomplishments or to minimize what she prepared. So I'll try to be as brief as I can. But I want to tell you that I'm really honored and pleased today to present the award to one of our own AAPAC members, Feiruz Saad. Feiruz has spent her entire career in public service, which culminated, as you all know, in her run for Congress last summer. For this, we'd like to award you this from AAPAC. Feiruz, come up, please.
It's okay. Thank you, Ahmed, for that introduction. It really means a lot to me to be here. I'm thankful for AAPAC for everything they do for the community and for this award. Especially because now finally people hopefully can see that me and my sister Mariam are actually two different people. So you can stop confusing us. And Mariam didn't tell me I was going to speak, so I wasn't prepared, so I'll keep it short. I'll say that in these very challenging times, at a time when the Arab American community and or Muslim American community is being vilified across the country and sometimes even across the world, at a time when our countries of birth and our heritage are oftentimes vilified and demonized and seen as oppressors themselves. I'd like to remind everyone that in this year, while I'm very grateful that finally the country has caught up and is calling it the Year of the Woman, every year really is the Year of the Woman. And AAPAC had a first woman president, my sister Mariam, years ago. We elected Rashida to the State House for the first time, having a Muslim American woman in the state legislature 10 years ago. And beyond that, we come home, many of us, to women who prepare us dinner, who pick us up from school, who help us with our homework, and who inspire us every day to be the best that we can be. And so while I'm grateful that finally the rest of the country is catching up and is taking charge and women are finally running for office, that is not the only thing that really qualifies it as being the Year of the Woman, and women do a lot more for this country every single day.
Right now we have one more award that's a surprise for the person who's going to get it. He has no idea. He was supposed to be at the stage as an AAPAC executive board member. Osama, don't leave the hall. I can guarantee you that other than AAPAC's executive board, that not all AAPAC members, because some of them will talk. I know who talks. And so I didn't tell everybody, and I asked Mona if I can please introduce that award, because it's long overdue. And I wanted to do it myself, Because me and Osama, everybody knows our brothers in arms. And I'm going to tell you things about Osama that you may not know. Because I want you to know that we're not giving Osama this award from AAPAC because he has been a pillar of this organization from day one. That's not why, you know that.
You want him to go home.
It's not to celebrate. Ali Jawad always has the wonderful comment to say. And you know what's funny? He's not happy because he did not know about the award. Now one thing, he knows everything in Dearborn, they want to escape you. And I didn't tell Sam Baidu because you would have told him. I swear. It's not to celebrate Osama's awesome accomplishments in a newspaper as an editor and journalist and an owner of the paper for 34 years. That will be actually on November 15, and all of you should join us. It's not to thank him for the countless media appearances on TV, national TV and international, where everybody who sees him feel good that he's speaking on behalf of this community. Even those who are his detractors. I hear him sometimes. You know, I don't agree with Osama and everything, but I'm glad he was on TV. He makes us proud. It's not because of this. It's not for all these accomplishments. We want to thank him for what he does on a daily basis to serve people. You have no idea how many people come to Osama's office or call Osama, individuals, community members who have no idea who Osama is other than hear the name. Not his relatives, not his friends, not our friends. People who knock on the door and say, I have this problem. And I can tell you because sometimes he calls me. These problems range from anything. Could be from somebody looking for a lawyer, somebody who cannot feed their family, somebody who is about to be deported, and I can go on and on. I cannot tell you how many people Osama Siblani helped. And sometimes he sent them to the right people in the community, many people in this audience, and they know what I'm talking about. How many over the last 34 years I've known him. Every single day, Osama made a difference in the life of somebody. What I mean about the difference in a tangible, actual person who's right there. We all make a difference when we run for office. We all make a difference when we vote. We all make a difference when we do political stuff. But Osama makes it to a person that he knows the name, he knows the phone number, he takes care of them. For this Osama, you're gonna stay at the end of the hall. Can you please come up here? He's so surprised.
I don't think I deserve this. Thank you for those who remain seated. Please take the pictures. I don't know if I deserve an award for what I am supposed to do. But if I deserve an award, and I received many awards, national, international, local, I think this is the best award I received in my life. AAPAC, we talked about the woman in our community. They think that we oppress women. I mean, for God's sake, do you know who is the president and who was the previous president, the previous president? I mean, you know, they are the bosses in our community, right? What? They are the men. And then they say, you know, that we do not support women. And let me tell you, if you know who are the elected officials from the Arab community, you would know that the majority of them are women. So before the Woman Me movement, we had it in our community, it's Me movement way before. So now, America is following our footsteps in this community. So I know that we have wonderful women in this hall, but I'd like to identify two actually, who I think highly of, and they are here. One is Jocelyn Benson. Jocelyn Benson is the next Secretary of State for the state of Michigan. Right there, guaranteed, if you have to go out and vote for her. And the second thing I would like to say to you, that we are very proud in AAPAC to nominate and support the first Yemeni American woman to run for office ever in the state of Michigan. And that's Aman Dama. Where is Aman Dama? Stand up, Aman. Right there. She's running for the school board, and we hope you support her. Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much. Thank you very much.
So it means a lot that I was invited this evening and to have AAPAC's endorsement. As the newest justice on the Michigan Supreme Court and only one of 2 women, your theme tonight of the Year of the Woman is especially special to me. I think diversity in our political system and our branches of government, especially in our judiciary, is very important. The diversity on the bench brings unique perspectives, and having people from different backgrounds and different experiences is what brings our court to the right decisions. And my background is unique because I served in all 3 branches of government. I was an attorney in the legislature, an attorney in the governor's office, and now I serve as a judge on the Michigan Supreme Court.
Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. I have the distinct honor of introducing our next speaker. Nearly 2 years ago, the speaker approached me. We were at Bromberger, and he said, Abdullah, I have this crazy idea. I said, let's hear it. He said, I'm going to run for governor. I said, I took a deep breath, and I said, you're crazy. Majnoon kthir. But whatever you need, keep me close, and we'll see what happens. And he embarked on a journey. And I was privileged enough to join him on that journey. And this community was privileged enough to jump in on that journey. And Dr. Abdurrahman Al-Sayed sent a message that the Arab American community has sincerely progressed as it comes to civic engagement. We showed that we have the resources and the ability to raise resources. It showed that we have the ability to unite under one candidate who happens to be a child of our own and deliver votes. And he won over my heart, and he won over the hearts of many members in this room, and he won over the hearts of nearly 350,000 residents in the state of Michigan. And so today, this evening, I'd like you to help me in welcoming, but more importantly, thanking Dr. Abdurrahman Al-Sayed for raising our heads for the rest of the community, for the rest of the country to see what we are capable of delivering and doing when we work together.
And when I say that honestly, because I want you to look at the number just behind me here. That's a 21. 21 years this organization has been laying the groundwork to be able to make history. And I want you to think about what we did. Now, I want to put this in context. I don't run away from it. I lost. But in losing, we won. $340,000 Michiganders, not just people in Dearborn, not just Arab, not just Muslims, 340,000 diverse Michiganders made the decision to mark an X next to a name that has 11 letters in it. Abdurrahman Muhammad Sayed. Fortunately, it was only Abdul on the ballot, because the other part would have been scary. But I want you to think about what that means. That kind of push, that doesn't happen because of one candidate. That happens because of generations of preparation in rooms like this, people laying the groundwork, public servants who have come for many, many years before with names that look a lot like mine. I know that in running, I stood on the shoulders of giants. And that is everybody in this room, that is this organization. So I just want to say a deep, momentous, full of gratitude, thank you. Jazakumullahu khair. Shukran. But I don't believe in valedictories. I don't believe that's okay just to pat yourself on the back and say we've come so far. Because we all know how much further we have yet to go. And right now, our community has a decision to make about whether or not we are going to operate with the power that we actually have, or whether or not we are going to continue to operate in ways that undercut that power. Because there are people who sit at the table. There are from our community. And yet when they see people from our community on the menu, they don't stand up and say anything. They're too concerned about losing their place at the table. And we have to decide about whether or not we as a community are willing to embrace the fact that if we are willing to unify, if we're willing to come together as a community, the power that we have in rooms like this can fundamentally change our future. When we see attacks on civil liberties, when we see attacks on the very right to just say, I don't want to give my money to something, when we see those attacks, we have to decide that our unity, that our dignity, is worth those seats at the table. Because if we're not all willing to sit at the table together, then the question has to become whether or not sitting at that table is worth it. And I also want to speak truth, because that's all I can do. During the campaign, many of you probably saw some of the smears against me just because my name is Abdul and I'm Muslim. And those smears came left, right, and center. It came to the point that we had to hire a bodyguard. And most of you who saw me during the campaign saw me, and I always had somebody right at my hip. His name was Jordan. Jordan, he and I had a conversation once. And I said, you know, if any of these death threats actually do come true, I want you to know that I knew what I signed up for. And I don't want you to feel bad if you survive. I want you not to have to live with that if something were to happen. And it was after a scare. And Jordan looked me in the eye. He just, without flinching, he said, listen, in this line of work, 95% of the time, if you get hit, I get hit first. Jordan is black. And there was a moment when we were in Detroit and I wanted to go to the bathroom. Jordan did too. I was finishing up my business in the car, just finishing up a couple of emails, and Jordan went to the bathroom. And he asked, is there a place for me to use the bathroom? And he came back out and I said, is there a bathroom here? He said, no, there's no bathroom. I said, oh, okay. And so I walked in, and the attendant was one of us. And I asked him, hey, can I use the bathroom? He said, yeah, of course, it's in the back. I want you to ask yourself, we know the pain of being excluded. We know what it's like when people say you cannot. I want us to ask ourselves whether or not our will to belong, our will to fight for civil liberties is bigger than just ourselves. Because that man would have taken a bullet for me. He would have died before I died. And yet somebody from our own ethnic group said, you know what? We don't have a bathroom for you. We've got to face truth in our communities. We've got so much further to go, whether it be outside in the fight that we fight to belong, or the fight that we fight inside to make sure that we are people who put principle ahead of everything else. We have a lot further to go. But these organizations, what we're celebrating here tonight, these are the institutions that empower us, but we have to be willing to look inside just as much as we look outside. And I know that our community has the ability to do that. That's why I'm proud to be standing here with you. That's why I'm so proud to belong to a community like this one. Now let's go out and continue to do the work. Thank you.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you, my friends, family members, residents, community organizations, AAPAC, and all the elected officials who have endorsed my candidacy and believed in me. I am truly honored and humbled by the overwhelming support that my campaign has received, and I am looking forward to working for all of you, representing you in Wayne County. Our next guest is not a stranger to us. She was raised as the eldest of 14 children of Palestinian immigrants in Detroit. She started her professional career in community organizations, in public service, and the law. In 2008, she made history by becoming the first Arab and Muslim woman to serve in the Michigan State Legislature and rising to become the Democratic chair of the House Appropriations Committee. And she just won the 13th Congressional District Democratic primary for the United States House of Representatives. And to our good friend, Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, you will have a strong ally in Congress as both of you will work together to fight for all the hardworking people in southeastern Michigan. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you our first Arab and Muslim American woman to serve in Congress, our sister, our daughter, Rashida Tlaib.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum to all of you. I cannot tell you how extremely excited that I am. Alhamdulillah, like if you think about the fact that we really, at this moment of darkness in our country, this moment of just the light that we're sending to Congress, I mean, you all were part of it. You are part of the movement. I would have never even had the courage to run if I didn't see Fayrouz Saad out there before I even was. I was so proud of her. I can tell you, having Dr. El Said on top of the ticket, I told him thank you because you're inspiring a whole generation of Arab Americans across the state to want to be active in politics. And I can't thank enough the activism from Abdullah Hamoud on environmental justice issues. He is really an incredible advocate for his residents. And I gotta tell you, I'm a little different, and you all know this. And yes, I'm all dressed up now, but I'm a gym shoes kind of protest with my bullhorn kind of girl. Because, yes, I am. And it's not going, there's inklings of it that comes out here and there, but it's always going to be there because my parents came from Palestine. My grandfather was shot 11 times because he couldn't leave his homeland. All of that is in my blood. All of that is this passion that comes out. So when I hear my brother, Dr. El Said, talk about my African-American neighbor that sat there and tried to get access to the bathroom, and we're sitting there saying no. We have a duty to humanize every single person that is being disenfranchised, being denied access. We have a duty, all of us, to doing that. And it wasn't Arab or Muslim that elected me. It was a predominantly African Americans, mashallah. It was a predominantly white community that elected me. When you see the movement that Dr. El-Sayed and so many incredible people, Fayrouz Saad, it was predominantly non-Arab that were supporting us. And that to me is the story that nobody talks about. When I go across the country and I talk and try to uplift other women, and try to get them elected, people assume, oh, you must have been the Arab. I said, no, not at all. It was fellow Americans that don't share the same faith as I do, or the same ethnicity. They elected me. They still can't pronounce my name, but alhamdulillah, they remember what I've done. And I will always, faraskum kulkum, inshallah. And I can tell you, when I won, my City Muftiya, who's still alive and well in the West Bank, told me she woke up to all the media in front of her house in the village, and she rahat libsat al-ahsan thob, the best Palestinian thob she could, ironed her hedka that she wore, and she said, Siti, thank you for irfasi rasna, inshallah, btahli Palestine. I said, okay, inshallah, but I have to first fight for the families that got me there. And they are families that are living in great poverty. They are families that are getting denied to the voting box. They are families that are getting kicked out every single day out of their homes for little as $1,000. And it terrifies, it just breaks my heart to see my neighbors having to suffer like this because they've been denied access, equal access that we all deserve to thrive, to really live in a just and free society. And and I think about this moment in 2008 when I called around trying to raise money. People said, oh, give her money, but she's not going to win. I remember that. When I called Jocelyn Benson and Ryan Friedrichs, they were the first to raise money for me at the Riverfront Towers. They're such a bougie place for Jocelyn. And I called him. It was my first ever fundraiser. I didn't even know what a fundraiser really was. I never ran for office. I never really was active. I was more of like, give me a list and let me go door to door. So I was like, what is this about raising money? I was like, how much money do you have? Yes, we did go door to door. She actually snuck me into the Riverfront Towers. By the 7th floor, they kicked me out. But thank you, Jocelyn. But a lot of you might not know that story. Ryan and Jocelyn had the first ever fundraiser for me and believed in me from the beginning. Thank you. So, I have started a hashtag, Osama. It's called hashtag President Maude. I'm hoping it's gonna go viral. I don't care, it's gonna happen, AJ. I don't care. You're gonna tell me that I have my umbos in the community.
You are insulting the Hamas.
Okay. And so I can tell you that I have my umbos in the community because not now. Take your time, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna go viral, and everybody's gonna know that word what that word means in Arabic. And I can tell you, think about it. Think about it for one moment. This man is gonna know my name. He's gonna know that this Muslim who got kicked out of the Cobo Hall rally, when I asked him, has he ever read the Constitution? Yeah, he never answered. But I'm gonna show up on the US Congress, and guess what? He can't ban me from coming onto the House floor. And you all were part of that. And I'm gonna have my sister, come on up here. Congresswoman, come up now. Come up here. Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, who, by the way, one of the first calls, she has been mentoring me. No, really, you guys, she has been mentoring me through this roller coaster of a ride. And you know, I don't know if you know Clerk Kathy Garrett, our Wayne County clerk. She's a lovely woman. I love her. She actually calls me Good Trouble. And every time she goes, she goes, here comes Good Trouble. And I was like, you know it. And then here comes Debbie Dingell, and she goes, you know, man, people should not upset us both. Because what do you call us? Double trouble. And so I just want you to know we're going to be a force of nature. And what I love is she's never like, you know what, Rashida, what are you doing, Dearborn? That's my district. She knows that me being here inspires so many of you. And I can tell you, we're having rallies together, inspiring people, but uplifting each other and really trying to fight, because we're going to need each other, because this President Maude is out of this world. We've never seen anything like it. I'll tell you later what it means. And I can tell you, it is going to be an incredible, incredible movement. But I really want to recognize her and give her time to speak to all of you that she represents. So you all need to hear from her, please. And so with this, I want to thank you so much for everything. And thank you. Osama, thank you. And I'll tell you, Osama Sadlani doesn't cry. Bullshit. He cried when I won, and I called him, and he was in tears. And I thank you so much, Amal, for being with me from the beginning.
They want to eat, but I do want to tell you, I'm so proud of Rashida. You don't ever get us mad together. You are all in trouble if you do. But we talk every day, we text every day, we make sure we're at each other's events, or you're not here, you need to be here. Where are you? We love each other, and we're going to be representing you every single day.
Thank you.
Now you're doing pretty good, Rashida, until you started with the Ammo stuff. You know? By the way, for those who do not understand Arabic, Ammo is mean uncle. So, I get the pleasure to introduce the last speaker. And I talked about her just a few seconds ago. I just wanted to get off the subject for 1 second. And I wanted to say that even Warren Evans is not here, but I believe that, you know, he is present. His angels are here. And I wanted to thank him for everything that he's doing in Wayne County. And in particular, I would like to thank him for appointing a fine man as a chief of staff, my brother Asad Turki. And I just wanted to tell you how proud I am, and as a community, we are of our brother Eric Sabri as the treasurer of Wayne County. He's doing a wonderful work. And his daughter was appointed by Governor Snyder, thankfully. And we would like to thank Governor Snyder for his appointments of Adil Harb and Mariam Bazi to the bench and Aliya Sabri to the bench as well. Thank you, Governor Snyder. And I hope the next governor will appoint more than 3. Having said that, please welcome to the podium a lady that will be the next Michigan Secretary of State. But before she gets here, I want to tell you that her son, who is somewhere in here, we're in the lobby. He is not allowed here because you would not be standing the smell. No, I'm just joking, you know. So the dad is changing the diaper or what? Bring him in here. He's the hummus eater. He loves hummus. Please welcome to the podium the next Secretary of State of Michigan, Jocelyn Benson.
Thank you, Osama. This is my husband Ryan and my little boy Aiden, who as soon as he walked in today said, "Mr. Osama, where's the hummus?" I will just speak briefly and with gratitude and share with you two quick things. One, how this selection of the next Secretary of State of Michigan will define our democracy for years to come. But number two, I just want to tell you who you will be electing if you support me in as your next Secretary of State. I started my career at the Southern Poverty Law Center, investigating hate groups and hate crimes throughout the country. But when I moved to Michigan, I did two things first, and that's why to me being here is so much like being with family. One of the first things I did was a study on what we could do to increase turnout among Arab American voters here in Michigan. And I called two people to help me with that study when I moved here to clerk for Judge Damon Keith right out of law school. One was Osama Siblani and one was Abed Hammoud. And the two of them welcomed me into this community and helped me work with your clerk, helped me work with voters here in Dearborn to ensure that we were doing everything we can to get information to voters throughout the city about the choices that you'll be making in that election, which was in the early 2000s. But I also stand here tonight with you as a candidate, the Democratic nominee for Secretary of State, because of someone who opened the door for me back in 2009 when I first looked at running. I had just written a book on the Secretary of State office where I went around the country interviewing Secretaries of State, talking with them about how this office can be used to serve our citizens better and increase access to the vote. And I came to Michigan and thought, I want to do this job here in Michigan. And I called a friend of mine who had just been elected in 2008 to the State House of Representatives, Rashida Tlaib. Rashida was a neighbor, was my state representative at that point, and Rashida invited me to be her guest to the State of the State that year in 2009. And the pictures still live to tell the story of how at a time when I didn't know anyone in Michigan politics, I just was a law professor, a clerk to Judge Keith, someone who wanted to do the job and had just written a book on the office. And it was Rashida Tlaib who opened the doors to me to come to Lansing and to be able to really think about running for office for the first time. And so I'm here tonight because Rashida Tlaib and so many of you, Osama Siblani, Abed Hammoud, and so many of you opened doors for me. And that is what I will be taking with me to Lansing. That knowledge that we're all in this together, that we're all connected, and that I will work on your behalf every single day, working to ensure we're improving services in that Dearborn Secretary of State office, which I will visit in my first month as Secretary of State, and also that we're working together to ensure every voice of every citizen in this state is heard in Lansing, and it starts right here in Dearborn. So thank you, Osama, and I hope to have your vote and your support November 6th. Thank you.
Michigan Attorney General.
I thought I was just coming here to eat, but this is good too. Thanks, Osama. Thanks everybody so much. I want to say thank you for the support that I've gotten from AAPAC and from so many people in the Arab American community. I can tell you this, the election is obviously just 13 days out, and I'm really excited for the election to be over with, clearly, but you know, I think that we're going to make so much progress in this state, and I am very, very excited to finally have a state government that truly represents everyone in the state, and I mean everyone in this state. And I look forward to being in office and working closely with everybody in this room and making certain that we have a government that actually cares about the people of the state again. So thank you very much. Enjoy your dinner, and thanks again for your support, and thank you, Osama.
Good luck, Dana Nassau. And now I'd like to call to the podium a friend of mine and a member of AAPAC, and he is a professor, adjunct professor of law, and also a writer, and also he thinks that he's a comedian. I said he thinks that he's a comedian. All right. So please welcome to the podium Amr al-Zahar.
Hello everybody, good evening. Have a seat, have a seat. Ali Berry, have a seat. Everybody else have a seat. Have a seat. I'm not here, I don't want to tell too many jokes tonight. I know that we have, thanks Dave Abdullah. I know, what a hater. I know that we have a lot of our guests from other communities today. I'm very happy that we have a diverse room with Arab Americans, African Americans, Latino Americans, and some boring white people, and we are all happy that you are here. You're one of them right there. Welcome. And we're happy that everyone's here, and to all the Arab Americans in the audience tonight is a night where we celebrate our work throughout the year, our victories throughout the year, and where I say to all of you to be proud of your culture. And don't change your names for white people. If your name is Muhammad, don't be Mo. If your name is Wissam Rasim, don't be Dave. Be proud of who you are. If your name is Muhammad, be Muhammad. If your name is Fatima, be Fatima. If your name is Jamil, be Jamil. If your name is Jihad, be Jay. We don't need that shit. But I really wanted to come up here to say one thing tonight. That I am a very proud member, I've been now for a few years, of AAPAC. We tell people it's the good AAPAC, the good Arab American Political Action Committee. And we are active and we are proud. And I'm also a proud Arab American, and as many of you know, I'm also a very proud Palestinian American. And we circulated a petition starting a couple weeks ago, and I'm very proud that AAPAC has signed on to it, urging everyone in Michigan to protect the free speech rights of everybody in this state, including our right to participate in the boycott, divestment, sanctions campaign against Israel if we wish to, without punishment by the state of Michigan. Currently, the state of Michigan has a law on the books that prohibits the state from entering in contracts with those who boycott or engage in boycotts against Israel. So we ask every politician to please respect our rights for free speech. We would love for you to stand for justice with the Palestinians, but even if you don't, we should have the right to do what we want. We especially ask our Attorney General candidates, our judges, to make sure they uphold our rights, and every politician, including Congress. I don't know if Congresswoman Dingell is still here, but there are going to be bills that come up to curtail our rights. So we all say together that we stand against this thing. We stand for people's rights and free speech when it comes to Palestine. And thank you very much. Masal khair. Assalamu alaikum.